The number 3 seed, Andy Murray, will serve first in the near court.
First set, it's Murray to serve.
Players striving to get through to the second week when that's the business end of the tournament.
Ready.
Double let court, 15 love. Already you can see it is just about full here at Louis Armstrong Stadium. So much buzz around Murray off of his Olympic gold medal. Runner-up finish at Wimbledon this summer. It's going to get even more packed at Louis Armstrong.
Lopez is challenging the call on the left serve.
Challenge on point number 2 to the chase review.
This is, if he's right, it's okay, but if he's wrong, he's only got 2 left.
I think it's that one.
And it's in, so that's a waste. In my mind, that's a total waste of a challenge. Second point of the match. What does it matter if he's got to serve again? And now if he gets to 4-all and things get tight, he's going to be 1 challenge down.
40 love.
No question on that ace. Quickly to 40 love.
It's 2 in a row. He's got a beautiful motion, very easy flowing motion on the first serve. Second serve he falls off and doesn't get much on it. That's his Achilles heel, that one there.
Clean backhand winner. Very efficient start for Andy Murray. Holding it love, 1 love, set number 1.
Looks very lean and mean, Andy Murray. Looks in great shape. He's a hard worker, spends a lot of time in Florida, in Miami actually, and he trains out with quite a few of the folks on the University of Miami, and he likes the warm weather and trains very hard. So fitness shouldn't be a problem with him.
Lopez now to serve for the first time in this match. 30-year-old Spaniard ranked number 31 in the world, seeded number 30.
I like those colors on that shirt, the blue and the yellow seem to blend together quite well. He's a fashion plate. I mentioned does a lot of modeling in his spare time.
Lopez entering this match 0-6 lifetime versus Andy Murray, just 1 set 1. There's 6 match losses.
You can see that beautiful flowing serve from Lopez. That's the reason he does so well at Wimbledon. When that's on song, that serve.
Good start for Lopez. Fred, with the history in mind, the fact that Murray's defeated Lopez in all 6 of their previous matches, how much do you think that's playing on the mind of Feliciano Lopez?
Oh, he knows, certainly knows that he's never beaten him. He's only won 1 set, but he's got to feel confident when you go out there in a Grand Slam. You've won a few matches to get to this point, so you've got to be hitting the ball well. You just got to believe that if you play your best tennis and maybe Murray doesn't play his, then you've got an opportunity, and there's always a chance. Got to go on with that positive attitude. 40 love.
Called wide.
Lopez.
Murray holds it love to open this match. Lopez holds it love, 1-all, set number 1.
Sean mentioned very warm conditions, probably the hottest day we've had today. It's been rather breezy earlier in the week. Very little wind today at this stage anyway. It may pick up later in the day.
First point dropped by a server in this match. Heavy first serve.
Yeah, huge difference when you get that first serve, and that one's not back deep enough, so an easy put away for Murray.
Bit loose.
Yeah, it was not a good approach shot either. The volley was up round shoulder height, and it got a little bit behind him. There's Ivan Lendl in the black and dark blue, royal blue cap.
Lendl, of course, winning 8 majors, including 3 times here in New York.
Finalist 8 times here in the Big Apple. Incredible record. I think he's helped Andy Murray. He told Murray that, you know, when he's out in the court, it's up to him. He's not looking up the stands and going crook and whinging. And so he's helped his mental outlook. His first coach out there, though, is a fellow that hasn't got enough recognition in my mind. When we first had Murray came on the 2005-2006 was Mark Petchey, who was a good player out on the tour for Great Britain, played Davis Cup, and then he doesn't get the recognition that he should, in my opinion, the way he's brought Murray to the forefront of the game.
Early chance for Lopez.
30. Well, that's the weaker side, the backhand side, because he has that one-handed backhand, Lopez, and he didn't do much on that return. So Murray's still down a break point. Good move there from Lopez. I thought Murray might come in earlier in that rally. He chose not to. Lopez came in behind an approach. Wasn't a great one, but it puts pressure on Murray to come up with the passing shot, and he had to have 2 shots at it before he won the point. So he's got back, saved a couple of break points.
Lopez early on doesn't seem that interested in flattening out his backhand. A lot of cut.
Third opportunity now for Lopez.
Lopez early on, Fred, seems content just to slice the backhand.
Yeah, well, he came over one during that rally there, but Andy Murray is very passive at the moment. He's not trying to do too much at all, and he's made a couple of errors.
Just saw Alberto Berasategui, 1994 French Open runner-up, coach of Feliciano Lopez.
Another error.
Murray is something to call on the
Murray's
right
challenging the
far
call,
sideline.
but I think it might be wide. So he's talking to the players' box already in this match.
Called out, Lopez put his finger up indicating he agreed.
That was good.
Flush on the line.
All right. Yeah.
Replay the point.
Well, that's bad luck there for Murray because it was a winner. Berasategui, if you folks are tennis aficionados will remember that he was a great clay courter, but hit the ball off the same side of the racket. He had unbelievable grips, and when we first saw him play, it took him a couple of games to figure out how it worked. Very strange grip that he could get around just with one side of the racket, hit forehands and backhands, and he hit them hard.
It was a good French Open final in 1994,
Yeah.
losing to Sergei Bruguera in 4 sets.
Murray struggled back now to game point.
Not as easy as he would have liked.
Murray
Fighting
needs to
through,
get to
holding,
1 for
on
sets.
serve 2-1. Lopez to serve, on serve 1-2.
That's the backhand we
Love
talked
it.
about, the slice backhand.
A lot of heavy cut on that.
A lot of slice, yeah, coming underneath it. I think that's called a football. No, it's an ace. Well struck serve.
136 miles per hour.
Unbelievable, that shot really generates so much pace. This was just a slow slice and very deep. Watch what happens when it hits the court. Murray's just perfect timing and accelerates the head of the racket through for the outright winner down the line. 15-30.
In rallies, Murray stands so much closer to the baseline than someone like Andy Roddick.
Also, I was very surprised with Ryan Harrison, the way he played yesterday. He was 15 feet behind the baseline trying to track balls down from Del Potro. Just makes it too tough. You're going to run too many balls down. Too far to hit them when you get there.
Nicely done.
40-30.
Game point. Lopez holding his own, early days. The level thing, set number 1 at 2 games apiece. Aggressive play by Murray. Better reply from Lopez. Level at 2.
Well, this is just a slice backhand, not enough on it, and Lopez lets rip. But he got a little fortunate. Murray had it covered, but it hits the tape. There's the slice. Now, this one he comes over and leans into it, and it hits the tape. He apologizes, but you know he doesn't mean it. It's 2-all now.
Visit usopen.org, your exclusive online home for real-time scores and stats, daily video highlights and press conferences, official US Open merchandise and much more. The official tournament website, usopen.org.
Now, that's a tough serve for a lefty at the other end, the lefty being Lopez, because the ball's moving away. It's the same as Murray trying to run around it on the second court. Works the other way with a lefty on the juice court. The ball keeps coming into his body, and you've got to hit it for a winner. Well, you've got to go for the winner, as Lopez did there and made the error.
Drop shot.
A little cat and mouse. Murray spent his formative years, or not formative, but when he was 14, he left and he went down to Spain and learned his craft on the clay. That's why he's pretty good on all surfaces. A little bit of cat and mouse there. So I'm sure that he's played Lopez a lot over the years. Lopez, 30 years of age, one of the veterans of the tour these days. Lopez over the years, they've been very well well rewarded.
Really
He's
close
made
on that one.
just about $7 million
Lopez's chance on
out
goal.
there
Very
in
far
prize
sideline.
money,
Ball
let
spot
alone
on.
the endorsements. And you know,
I think it is, but
gets
it's really
quite a few
close.
of them.
Back to the chase review in. Heard umpire Jake Garner say, I think it's in, but it's really close. It was in.
15 all.
So we will replay this point, 15 all.
Lopez knew exactly where Murray was
Jody
going
Vincent.
with that forehand. It went cross court. Lopez was there, but he just miscued.
Fred, a moment ago you were talking about the career of Feliciano Lopez. He's been the main draw of every U.S. Open since 2002. Very solid career, overshadowed obviously by his countryman, first Juan Carlos Ferrero. And of course, Rafael Nadal, to say nothing of someone like Nicolas Almagro or David Ferrer, but a very solid player at age 30.
Well, he's been in the top 100. Well, he's only been out of the top 50 once in that time. 2006, he finished up at 81, but he's been in the top 100 of the top 50 since 2002. So that's the last 10 years. So that gets you into all the Grand Slams, and you win a few matches, and you make a few bucks.
Chip in charge and a beautiful reply. Defense to offense for Andy Murray.
Murray leads
He
the
holds.
game 2 for
Here on serve after 5 games. On serve through the opening 5 games, Feliciano Lopez now to serve. Bring this match to 3-all, set number 1. Lopez hasn't looked rattled. He's largely stayed to his game.
Well, as you say, he's
Please
been out
take
there
any
long
seat for
enough.
now.
He's been a pro
Players are
since
waiting.
2000, so he's played in all 4 Grand Slams. He's done well. He's been a quarter-finalist. This is what we're talking about. That's they're coming in just underneath the concourse there where the box seats are. And it takes time. The ushers then close off the entrances, the steps, but it's not an easy job.
15 love.
Opens with an ace.
That's the toughest serve for a lefty, and he does it well. That one there delivered out to the forehand on that juice court. You got to pronate the wrist, get it away from the body. He does that well.
He's number 2 of the match for Lopez. Wide.
Well, Murray knows that he's never lost to Lopez, only lost a set, one set way back when, 2010 in Los Angeles in the semi-finals. So he's just on cruise control. He'll probably stay there until it gets to 4-all and then try and pull the trigger. But that's a dangerous play because Lopez, if he serves well.
Murray sends the ball on the left serve. The ball was got in.
Challenge from Murray.
Dangerous fellow, Lopez. We've met on all 3 surfaces, so he's no stranger to the hard courts here. And it was good.
Murray 1 for 2 thus far in the afternoon on challenges.
Murray has
Both players have burned 1. Both have 2 remaining in set number 1. Quickly to 40 love. Second service. Fred, Fred, is that type of play, is that the influence of Yvonne Lendl?
40-15.
Well, that was a casual. He needs to do more of that. Everybody's been trying to get him to be aggressive. He won the gold at Wimbledon by just teeing off and hitting. He actually hit Federer off the court. That was a very casual approach down the line there, and Lopez had plenty of time. But it's at 40 love, so now it's 40-15.
No worries on the overhead.
Again, Lopez.
Up with the fist, 3-all.
Lopez moves well, and that was a good second serve. He had the open court, went for it. Murray had to just throw up a defensive lob, but Lopez, that's one of his strengths, I feel, is the overhead. He doesn't try and do too much with them, and he very rarely misses.
There's an article in the national newspaper here in the U.S.
Was that?
Earlier this week, Fred, decrying by the American rider the death of the overhead on the men's tour. I'm not sure if I agree with that. Maybe the death of the backhand volley. The rider was saying that it's a lost shot, that they couldn't hit it. Modern players, they've lost that skill from your generation where you were basically...
I agree with that. The top boys don't miss too many smashes.
I didn't agree with the rider either, but saying that your generation, the generation after you, you were much more accurate, much more deadly, finishing
well,
the overheads.
we probably hit a lot more of them because we came to the net
40
more occasions than they do today. Murray continues with good timing on the serve.
128 miles an hour. Third ace for Murray to match Lopez here in set 1. Cool as you like, the hold and love. No breaks of serve, at least not yet. 4-3, Murray leads Lopez.
Murray leads 4-3 for set.
The fist pump for Lopez. Definitely is motivated in this match. Knock him here to roll over for Andy Murray. Ace number 4, 15 love. Not a bad sign for Lopez that he's pumping his fist.
Oh no, well, as I mentioned, he's got to go out there and believe that he can win, even though he's only won one set in 6 different matches. But this is the US Open. This is a Grand Slam. Anything can happen. And you work to try and hit your peak round about this stage. At the end of the first week, if you're starting to hit the ball well, and you can peak during the second week of an Open Championship or a Grand Slam Championship, you've got an opportunity to make some surprise, have some surprise wins. It's just a great left-handed serve. He took a little bit off it, so you see what that does to Murray. It pulls him right off court, and he's got to take one hand off the racket. He can't get any pace of shot on it, and it leaves the court wide open for Lopez. So well played.
Back-to-back holds at love. 4-all now.
4-all, both players have won 21 points.
Murray's faced 3 break points. Staved off all 3. That was in his second service game this opening set.
He hasn't had a look at a break point on the Lopez serve, though. Lopez has been pretty consistent. Lopez has won 9 out of 10 points when he gets the first serve in. 7 of 9 when he gets the second, so he's dropped very few points on serve so far.
Lopez yanking that wide, 30 love. number 4.
40.
Both players serving well when they get the first serve in. They're both at 90%.
Another hold in love for Murray. He's done that 3 times in this opening set. Pressure on Lopez now.
Murray leads 5 games to 4 for
On
sets.
serve, Lopez down 4-5.
Thank you. At the back of the courts, please take the nearest seat. Ready for play.
Knows he's been out there against Murray many times, and so he needs the first serves. He missed it at the first serve, and Murray wins the rally, so the first point goes to Murray.
Love 30.
Just pressure at the moment. Murray going full well. This happens. And now Lopez just missed on a couple of occasions, but that's what happens when you haven't been successful against a player that keeps you going. He wants to make you play, and that's what Murray's done this game. Lopez has missed both his first serves. He needs one here. Happens. He served so well throughout the set. In this game, he can't buy a first serve.
Lopez won his last service game at love. Now down love 40, 3 straight errors.
And a smart move from, he's got love 30 here. Just a little chip, and it says, okay, if you want to win this point, you've got to pass me. You put the pressure on, and that's a tough ask. So now set points. Smart game so far from Murray.
And first break points of this set for Andy Murray. That's 3. Can't convert the first one. Nice stab volley on the backhand side. 15-40.
Well, you can see the conviction that Murray had in this point here. He gets this, and now he goes. He knows he's got to go cross court. Murray flat out makes that passing shot, doesn't get it low enough, and Lopez able to hit the volley into the open court. He's still got a couple to go though. So 1 first serve in so far.
Feliciano Lopez saves 2.
Murray very much annoyed with himself there. You got to look at the second serve.
Still set point for Andy Murray.
He hadn't gone for anything. That particular time he elected to go for the winner, Murray, and he missed it. So he's let Lopez back in.
Great serve.
Good effort from the Spaniard there, down 3 set points. What a difference a first serve makes. He's got 2 first serves in, and he's stretched Murray to the limit, and he's won both points. And then an error off the Murray return, off a second serve, puts him back at deuce.
Feliciano Lopez thought he had ace number 5 to take it to add in this critical game of set number 1. The chase review, it is an ace.
Another first serve. As we said, when he got the first serve in, he's won 90% of the points. Shows up in this game.
So from love 40, game point for 5-all. That is a very well-played game from Feliciano Lopez. And the New York crowd shows their approval. 5-all.
5 games all for sets.
Every time he got a first serve in, he won the point. And this was a tough one because he's got to generate his own pace with that off forehand. He does it, gets it short in the court, and Murray can't track it down. Certainly a well-played game there from Lopez.
Murray's won his last 2 service games at love. Doesn't look tight at all in that opening point.
Murray concentrating his efforts on the first serve to the Lopez backhand.
Double fault.
Double fault.
First double of the match by either player. Murray squandering 3 set points, 3 break points in the last game. Look at this.
Well played point there from Lopez. A little bit lucky with that floating backhand. This one, but it creates an unbelievable angle. Murray has to scamper across there. Lopez does the smart thing, moves in, anticipates the cross-court forehand, makes the volley round about waist high into an open court. 15-30, danger time for Murray.
His second serve now for Lopez.
Well, the net robbed him, and I've talked about the net all week long here. It's a very tight net on Armstrong here. When the ball hits the top of it, hits the tape, it can go anywhere. That one bounced way out of court. Murray can't believe it.
Feliciano Lopez had 3 break points in Murray's second service game of set number 1. You see both players 0 for 3. 2 more break points now for Feliciano Lopez. Murray saves 1. Big time serve, Fred.
Certainly right there, break point. Come up with an ace. Needs another good first serve though. Both players have served 5 aces apiece. Hear the wind in the outside microphones.
Calm, powerful forehand up the line from Andy Murray. The deuce we go.
Deuce.
Lopez 0 for 5 on break points.
This one set it up. Murray then over the high part of the net. You can see where he just gives it a little bit more air, a little bit more area over the top of the net, a little more topspin. Enough to bring it back into court though. smart shot from Andy Murray here, and a smart shot from Lopez when he plays this lob. This is not much of a volley. It was a tough one to play. Now this one, instead of going cross court, Murray goes back deep down the line. If he goes cross court, he just opens the court up for the Lopez forehand. So smart play.
Game point now for Murray. Moved to 6-5 in set number 1. See Yvonne Lendl intently looking on.
He won't change his expression too much for the next couple of hours.
Call that the point of the match thus far.
What an angle Murray was able to create on that last shot. I think Lopez thought it might be out, and this was
Advantage
very
Murray.
well played here. And Murray just, the slow roll, that one was inside that service box.
Murray's second double of the match. Back to deuce.
Bullet.
Standing
room
room
only, yeah, up the top there. Got a lot of success. I mentioned earlier that going to the backhand, he hasn't given Lopez too many forehands on the return. Particularly the first serve. Hasn't gone for the big ones. He served a bunch of aces, but it's been very consistent on the juice court out wide to the Spaniard's backhand.
Fantastic, up the line. 6-5, Andy Murray in the first set, Lopez to serve.
Murray leads his game to 5 for sets. Find a seat quickly, please.
Once again here at
Thank you.
6-5 for Murray. It's all about the first serve of Lopez. He missed it in the last service game to get himself into trouble, but every time he got that first delivery into court, he won the point. It got him out of that set, that game. So it's up, he's under pressure again to serve well to take this into a tiebreak. Get into a tiebreak situation.
Please.
Murray has the better record this year. He's won 9 and lost 5. Whereas Lopez has played quite a few more of them. He's won 10 and lost 16.
You see the first serve, points won. 83% for Feliciano Lopez. Crowd still coming into Armstrong on the changeover. It's a bit audacious.
Well, he generates his own pace, but it's set up by the serve. So when he gets himself in position, Lopez, he swings at the ball. He has a go at it, finds the angle, the off forehand. Again, well played.
Can you see the fist pump from Feliciano Lopez? Just about an unreturnable serve. Pulling Murray way out wide. 6 aces now for the Spaniard. Big points here in the latter stages of the opening set.
Another first serve in, another point. 16 of 17 points. He's won, only lost 1 point. And he's got that first serve into play. Quite remarkable. This is his 6th service game.
Looked a bit loose.
40-30.
Well, he can afford that there. He went for the backhand. He gets another first serve in here. He gets into a tiebreaker.
This match extremely tight on the scoreboard, as well as almost all statistics in this match. Serve and volley into the tiebreaker we go. 6-all, set number 1. You surprised, Fred?
No, not really. You know, the
Six
players
games
in
off
matches
the
that I
first
said,
set,
Lopez is just, he has to serve
Both
well.
players receive
And
one
if he
additional
doesn't
shot.
serve well, then he's in strife. But he has continued to serve well. 17 of 18 points on the first serve. His serve and volley there.
You send the
That
balls down.
swinging
Get
serve
balls.
out to the, where he makes Murray take a hand off that racket out to the backhand side has worked very well for him. Into the tiebreak. Russian roulette.
Next. First.
Big serve to open this first set tiebreak.
Whoever flinches first is going to lose this tiebreak. 127 miles an hour, that one. Straight down the middle. Beautifully struck. Still gets the first serve and wins the point. It's all about the first serve. Murray's won 23 of 26. Lopez 18 of 19.
135 miles per hour on the last serve by Lopez.
Tell you what, it's been a terrific set. Winners, Lopez 17 to unforced errors 9. Murray 15 to 9. So that's how good this first set's been. Lopez creates the angle there. Murray does well to scamper out there, can't control it. Has to go for the big shot on the run. Lopez creeps ahead in the tiebreak.
Lopez wrong-footed. 2-all. But you can just see Lopez flinching to his right.
Well, that's where Murray's been going. He's been peppering the backhand, getting the term in the backhand. So a good change of strategy in the tie break. Another one to the forehand. So there, that's a change. 2 points to the forehand, where Lopez is expecting both those to the backhand, where Murray has been consistently serving. And he was unable to, he never got his racket on one of them. He couldn't control that one.
Players will switch sides. Nothing between these two in this first set tiebreak.
3-all, and Lopez still with another point on serve.
Critical points now. Final stages of the opening set.
Lopez goes, whether he changes direction on the serve. He's been serving that big serve well to both courts. Where Murray standing way back to try and get this one back into play. Now you'll see Murray will move forward. Not too far, but he'll step in as the second serve comes. There it goes. Oh, Lady Luck.
4-3, Lopez.
Lopez acknowledging just that.
Yeah, this one, Murray did a good job to get to this. Couldn't do much with it. Stretches this one, but a smart move from Lopez. He never took his eye off the ball. When your opponent comes in, sometimes you tend to watch him, but there again, goes to a higher authority for thanks.
Makes no mistake there, 4-all.
Murray again goes back to the backhand on that occasion, where he got a weak reply.
On that miss.
Well, that's a shame because he worked so hard. That was a simple return. It was not a deep second serve. Lopez chips it into the net. So 4-5 now.
To look at his second serve.
Well, everything's gone Lopez's way. He just hit that approach shot, made it an awfully difficult bounce for Murray. This one jumps up, and you can see Murray couldn't do anything with it except float it back. Good close from the Spaniard on the volley.
5-all.
Winners and unforced errors, very good ratio. Well played first set.
The server has won every point in this tiebreak.
Yeah. Lopez Lopez is shot to ball. They left to serve. The ball's cut out.
Get into the chase review. Lopez challenges on the first serve.
Well, you might as well. You can't take them with you to the second set, so that's good. Jake Garner thought that was long, and even so, Lopez challenged. Bit of bad luck there because he has to replay the point.
Sailed long. There's the opening for Murray.
You just got to think that maybe Lopez was thinking about that serve. He had it. It was a bad call, not a bad call, a close call. The chase review gave him the edge, but he had to replay the point, and he lost it. So now set point now.
That is the first point lost by a server in this first set tiebreak. Set point for Andy Murray. 1 set to love lead. Set number 1 to Andy Murray. The number 3 seed, that much closer to the round of 16. Lopez will serve to start set number 2. Winner through to the round of 16 here at the 2012 US Open. Coming to you from the USTA Billie Jean King National Tennis Center,
As quickly as possible,
Louis
please.
Armstrong Stadium. The opening day of September, the opening Saturday of the final major of 2012.
So a few of the folks have left there after a very exciting first set. Took 59 minutes. They've gone out for a beverage or
Thank you,
maybe
ladies and gentlemen, quickly,
maybe a
please.
sandwich.
Simon.
Food court out here does fabulous business, and it's very good. And Heineken tent pretty busy out there all day as well.
I think they might get a few visitors in this heat.
And it's warm enough, isn't it?
A great look here in New
Ladies and
York.
gentlemen, back of the court. If you're coming in, please take the nearest seat.
Billie Jean
If you're
King
leaving,
National
please
Tennis
exit
Center.
as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Louis Armstrong Stadium. If you're not that familiar with this ground, the biggest stadium center court is Arthur Ashe Stadium. Armstrong connected to the grandstand, which is the de facto court number 3.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, ready for play.
See, unfortunately, this takes time. These folks, you can see them wanting to
What do
leave.
you want me to? I'm trying to do what I can. It's only so much.
Jake Garner said, I'm trying to do what I can, and I'm sure the ushers are trying to do what they can too, but New York crowds are different to most crowds around the world. They do everything that they want to do here in the Big Apple.
Fred, the players always talk about the charm of the New York crowd away from the Open. Once they get into the Open, all they do is complain about the New York crowd.
Well, they love to play here at the night matches. I think are so exciting at night on Arthur Ashe Stadium. It's a full stadium and it's electrifying, and the players love that. But in a situation like this, it becomes pretty annoying because it's hot. They're out there. The people are taking their time to get out of the stadium and to get into their seats. It amazes me because out at a sporting event, they take their time. If you get into the city, everybody's rushing around and pushing and shoving. You don't know where you're.
Shank there from Lopez. After the service winner, 15-all.
15-all.
Not that the match will turn on this game, but this is obviously, Fred, a big game for Feliciano Lopez.
Almost definitely early stages of this second set.
First double fault of the match for Lopez. I speculated, would there be a hangover to start set number 2 for Lopez? Suddenly he looks at 15-30.
that's brilliantly done from way back there. That's what you can do with these rackets, though, and the strings. Doesn't try to hit this at all. It's just a flick, and it's with topspin, and it dips very quickly. And he's got break points now.
That's for sure.
Fourth break point for Murray. He's yet to convert. There's 2 to make 1 here.
Great timing on the overhead, very secure, gets himself in position, doesn't panic. This opens the court up that backhand, and he gets a short forehand. He just gets himself underneath the ball, keeps the shoulders up, keeps the head up, and then delivers. Still down at break points.
Murray's starting to sneeze, that's the delay.
Allergies here in New York have been a problem with quite a few of the players. The weather's been very good. Had a lot of humidity. The day's hot though, and very little breeze.
Getting ready to look at his second serve on break point. Long from Lopez. That is the first service break in this match. Murray looks to consolidate, leads 1-love and 1 set to love.
Yeah, that could break this set wide open. Lopez knows in the back of his mind that he's never beaten Murray. That's the first set stats. Murray there 67%. We mentioned Lopez 49%. Every time he gets the first serve in, he's won it. Ace is pretty even. Double faults, a couple Murray threw in, but look at that, 17 winners, 10 unforced errors for Murray, 19 winners, 11 for Lopez. That is just a well-played set of tennis.
Join the global online conversation about this match by using #Armstrong on Twitter.
Please remain seated.
That's Ivan Lendl. They've put the extreme heat rule in effect this afternoon at 1 o'clock. The reading measured 31 degrees Celsius. That means the extreme heat policy goes in effect with women's singles and junior qualifying matches that begin after 1 o'clock today. That means a 10-minute break will be allowed between second and third sets if either player requests the break. Doesn't apply though to the men's singles. The men have got to just play through it. Women's singles, junior qualifying matches, if it gets to a set apiece, they're allowed a 10-minute break if either player desires.
Murray looking to consolidate. What thus far has been the lone break of this match from either man. Thumbs up from Lopez, acknowledging the crowd. Leads from Andy Murray. First of set number 2, his 8th of the match. 26 miles per hour on the Murray ace. Lopez not going away.
Well, he shows you that he can come over the backhand. He's hit a couple of good ones. On this occasion, just lets rip. Murray looking for that one down the line.
Interesting choice of shot from Murray. Left the drop shot way too long. Again, the ace. Second of this game, ninth of the match. 132 miles per hour. On the line, Murray challenges. Chase review will prove definitive. Fred, I think this is in.
Got the back of the line.
Deuce. Murray has 2 challenges.
Lopez trying to break right back. Deuce.
That's the serve once more out wide.
Advantage Murray.
And you get it out wide with as much movement as Murray gets on the serve. That slider out there. What Lopez, he can't get enough on it. He's just got to get it back anywhere. And then Murray dictates the point. He could have gone into that forehand corner, or as he wished, back to the backhand and set up for an easy volley.
Clean winner for Andy Murray. Consolidates the break. 2-love in set number 2.
Murray leads 2 games to love, second set.
Another aggressive forehand there from Murray. That's what we'd like to see. 2-love now. Consolidates the break.
Volley from Lopez. Very successful on that shot. Backhand overhead throughout this match.
Awesome.
30.
Good depth from Murray.
30-15.
Continues to serve well. Lopez just had that little hiccup in the opening game of this second set. Missed a couple of first serves.
Murray sends the ball on the left near sideline. The ball was
Ruled as an ace. Challenge from Andy Murray.
Lopez pretty much knew that was out. He never moved.
The hold from Feliciano Lopez. But he's down to break 1-2. Murray leads 1-0.
Murray leads 2 games to 1 second set and 1 set to love.
Louis Louis Armstrong Stadium, the former center court here.
Seats
US
quickly,
Open
please,
in
especially in the back of the
1997.
courts.
Louis Armstrong Stadium turned into the number 2 court. Still a great court, however, big capacity, downsized from its original capacity. And on cue, an aerial look.
Time.
You now see the main court here, huge court, which is of course Arthur Ashe Stadium.
Please, at the back of the courts, please find a seat.
The grandstand connected to Louis Armstrong. I always remember as a kid watching the Open and seeing those shadows creep over on the grandstand.
Yeah, and that used to be a restaurant up there, Slew's restaurant there for quite some time, and then they changed.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take any seat for now. Ready for play.
More available to spectators, more seating there, so they got rid of the restaurant and built the seats underneath there, so the overhang of Louis Armstrong.
That's
They're pretty good seats in there because you're in the shade most of the day.
You win this
watching grandstand.
You win this tournament in 1966 on grass.
Grass.
good team.
Grass-like serve there from Andy Murray. Ball explodes for an ace. 10 now in this match. Bad miss from Lopez.
30
Did a 30 love for Murray. The Scott definitely not on cruise control, at least not yet, but Freddie looks really comfortable.
Well, that serve's worked well for him, hasn't it? Up wide, because he's no pace on the return, and then he dictates the point. Either he runs around and hits a forehand, or on that occasion, the backhand finds the line.
A hold and love for Andy Murray.
Murray leads
3-1 in a break, set number 2. USOpen.org is the exclusive online home for point-by-point live scoring and real-time stats and draws. Visit the official tournament website, USOpen.org. Remember, find us on Twitter, #Armstrong. Chat about this match. More aggressive stuff from Lopez. He almost missed that overhead.
15 love.
Almost may have been an exaggeration.
What a return. Took a little bit off that serve, Lopez, and Murray was out there. Now the difference there is that Murray was out there to hit it with 2 hands. Watch this. He flicks it. The flick of the wrist gets the angle, but if he gets it a little wider, Murray has to take 1 hand off. You can't play that shot.
Big exhale from Feliciano Lopez. Down 2 breaks of serve in set number 2 does not bode well for his chances. Clever.
Great feel, great touch there for Murray. Talked about he can play on all surfaces. He goes in, he's great anticipation. That's good return here, and then just a fine touch, firm wrist, opens the face of the racket there, and just fades it cross court. Vamos, another big serve. It's 7 aces.
Hold from Feliciano Lopez. Still very much alive in this set and in this match, but Murray up a
Second
break.
set and 1 set to love.
3-2, leading 1 set to love. Start for Lopez. Just like that, it's love 30.
Love 30.
Lopez that much closer to getting back on serve. Leveling his second set at 3-all.
You've got to be a little careful here. Work hard.
Love 40.
Now love 40. So a little bit of lapse in concentration here has let the Spaniard back into it. And Lopez has continued to serve well. So he's still in danger.
Lopez 0 for 5. Looking at a break point. Has 3 to make 1. Gets to look at a Murray second serve. Extremely loose game from Andy Murray. And we are back on serve. Set number 2, 3-all.
3 games on second sets.
Yeah, a bit of a lapse there, and Feliciano Lopez, he's not going to go away. Pretty good effort for him there. Broke serve to love.
The vamos from Lopez, telling himself, let's go, let's go. He's been pumping his fist since early in set number 1. Big match for the 30-year-old Spaniard. Obviously a big match for Murray, 25-year-old Scot, but a match that Murray very much picked to win. Should be a huge upset for Lopez, hanging in thus far. 40 love.
40 love.
7 points in a row, 8 points in a row now. Maybe 9. How the first couple of points of his last service game, or the last couple of points of that game. So, an impressive run here for the Spaniard.
Murray just sticks out the racket. A hold in love. He gets the break back, then holds. On serve, set number 2. 4-3, Lopez leads. Murray to serve.
Time.
Patrick Rafter saves himself from dubious distinction, becoming the first US Open defending champion to lose in the first round. As you have a look at Andy Murray's service direction, the first serves, he's mixed it up well. But a lot of it has gone to the backhand, 71% on the ad court, and also a bigger percentage on the juice court. So he's been getting the first serve into the backhand side, opening up the court, taking advantage of it. Rafter saved himself from distinction coming back. He was the defending champion. In the first round, he was down 2 sets to love to Morocco's Hicham El Razi. Came back and won it in 5. Just a few of the things that happened on this day in US Open history as the years have progressed since Open tennis came about. September the 1st it is.
Opening Saturday of the final major of 2012. Steve from New York. New York crowd really getting back into the match. I think they thought that Murray was going to cruise to a straight sets win. He still may get a straight sets win, but it's not as easy as it looked when Murray broke to open set number 2 after winning the first set tiebreaker. Wide. This New York crowd seems to be, by and large, behind Murray. Not Lopez supporters, though, but Murray, the hot player, winning Olympic gold. Runner-up to Roger Federer at Wimbledon this year.
Well, there's been a lot of publicity around the fact that he did win Wimbledon gold at the Olympics. He's come in here in pretty good form, so a lot of expectations as to whether he can finally win a Grand Slam.
40-15.
Over his career, which has been an outstanding career thus far from 25-year-old Andy Murray. 4 times a runner-up in a major, additional 6 semifinal round appearances. A great career for a lot of players.
Oh.
Yeah, Murray.
4 games all. Now be absolutely ironic.
4 games
we're
all.
talking about that
Second set.
players going off, and that like most folks have pretty much said, well, I don't think Roger Federer could win another Grand Slam. He comes through and wins Wimbledon. It'd be ironic if he won this one, the last 2 Grand Slams of the year, when so many folks had written him off.
Federer back to #1 in the world at age 31. Big game out for Lopez.
Good for sure.
Tentative forehand, so it opens the door slightly. 4-all, love 15. Always good at that stage of a match when you get to 3-all, 4-all, win the first point of your opponent's serve. Allows you to take a few risks if they miss a first serve at love 15.
It's an all.
The court back on Murray's side, 15-all. To 34 miles per hour on that serve. Well-constructed point from Feliciano Lopez.
Has to be the longest rally of the match so far, and Murray laughing up
30
there. They
continue.
played one. Oh, there it is, the longest rally, 23 strokes in that rally. And Murray was just working over the Lopez backhand, and he finished up getting caught out of court. Can't believe it.
Out.
Murray is jumping the goal on the left baseline. Ball's called out.
Challenge from Andy Murray. We will see the chase review.
Lopez
40-15.
doing a good job here.
One
Overall,
challenge
40-15. Murray's only left with one challenge. They'll get an extra one if they get to a tiebreaker in this set.
Fantastic shot. He fisted up the line. Deuce.
Beautifully played. Sets that front foot.
Outstanding point.
Cat and mouse here, and Lopez has won both those. A couple of points prior to that in this one. Murray does a good job to reach this. And then over the top. It's back, just not quite on balance to make that. Lansman did a good job to duck out of the way there. He nearly got bowled over.
Point Lopez for 5-4. And he gets it. He's come back from a breakdown. Now a game away. A break away from winning set number 2 on serve.
Second set. First set Murray.
The service direction of Feliciano Lopez. A few empty seats, I imagine it will be full in set number 3. And we started full, but is the nature of the US Open, especially on this opening weekend. People come in, they go out, they walk around the grounds, bodies circulating in and out.
Take in the entire atmosphere. It's a special weekend for folks from all over the country. When the tennis touring folks that organised spectators to come in, they organised tours and they're very well done.
It's out. Murray has to hold. Lopez wins set number 2, and just like that, we would be level at 1 set apiece, but we're not there yet. Love Murray. Serves long, 30 love.
$30-15.
First serve, 40-15. We're now a point away from leveling set number 2 at 5 games all.
I think we might be headed for another tiebreaker the way things are progressing.
Both men have been broken once. That occurred in set number 2. Closing stages now of set 2. Phenomenal forehand.
Well, he just blocks this one back, and Lopez leans on it right in the corner. Couldn't have been played any closer to the line.
To deuce we go. Deuce. Up to the fist from Feliciano Lopez. Challenge from Lopez. Dwayne didn't make a play on the ball.
You move too much to plate. You're moving it.
Oh, no. No, Jake, come on. No, that's not a fair call. He never moved to the ball at all. Jake Garner is totally out of line here, folks.
I didn't move. I said I didn't move at all. I didn't move, man. But that's the wrong call from you.
That is the wrong call from him. I agree with you, Feliciano.
So does the New York crowd.
Yeah.
I didn't even move. I was there. You didn't see what I did. You didn't see. No, you didn't watch at all. You didn't see.
Fred, I'm with you on this one. Lopez hit the ball back and then immediately challenged.
Yep.
This is the one decision, man. It was so clear. I asked the challenge immediately. I asked that you will see on TV, man. Okay, no, it's a very important point.
Watch it on TV and show Jake Garner how wrong he is. That's a bad call. Terrible call at this stage of the match.
Point now for Murray. There's a little bit of controversy in this match. The boos continue to rain down here. The New York crowd not happy. 5-all. Lopez still playing to the crowd.
Well, I think he was done wrongly there. So sometimes it happens with the chair umpires, and in a situation like this, it's, you know, they've both busted it out there. They're both giving it their all. And now something like this happens, and this could affect Lopez. But Daniil's come under the gun a few times in his career.
Lopez still having words with Garner, at least in his direction. 5-all set 2. Lopez goes off the boil here. Critical stages.
This is like the crowd cheering for the Americans, whether it's James Blake or Marty Fisher, somebody out there. Now it's let's go Lopez.
This was a Murray crowd. Now it's a Lopez crowd.
Listen to that. They just appreciate the quality of tennis that both these boys have put in for an hour and 48 minutes. And it's been very high quality stuff. Still many more winners on both sides of the coin than unforced errors, and that gives you an idea of how good it's been.
Just wide. The most animated the crowd has been.
Well, maybe this will help him. Maybe this will lift him. As we've said on numerous occasions, he's yet to win. He's won 1 set in 6 matches against Murray. And he's come back here. He was down 3-1 in this second set.
40-15. One away from 6-5 in set number 2 for Feliciano Lopez.
That one rip. That's the first time he's gone down the tee with a second serve. That second serve, 123 miles an hour to go to a 6-5 lead.
On serve, set number 2. Critical stages.
Yeah, he's got to forget that. I hope he doesn't have words with Jake Garner, and he's got to forget that. It's done with. He can't get it back. He's now got to concentrate on trying to win this second set to get even. That's the second serve. And he turns around to his player's box. Verisatagi, the coach. Spaniards have got to be pretty happy with that.
A lot of sunshine. First day of September. Now we're 50 minutes into this match.
Ready for play. Please take a seat.
Empty seats rapidly disappearing.
Quickly, please.
Good start from Murray.
turn there from Lopez. Good depth.
Almost a half volley hit by Murray into the net. On Lendl, no change of facial expression that we can detect throughout this match. Stoic as a player, stoic as a coach.
He ran through that volley, didn't stop before he hit it. Ran through it, missed it.
That man Feliciano Lopez, 2 points away from winning set number 2, leveling this match at 1 set apiece. This Murray crowd in New York is now a Lopez crowd in New York. Big ace from Andy Murray as he leveled the match.
Boy, he served well when it's mattered. When he's been in a little bit of trouble on serve, he's pulled out an ace. That's his 11th.
Lopez very unhappy with that miss.
Yeah, lifted up on that backhand. Once you lift up, you carry
6
it
games,
long.
12 second
So
sets,
we're
tiebreaker.
into another tiebreaker.
Both
Murray's
players
got the
receive
edge
one
in the
additional challenge.
tiebreaker.
Again, Murray winning the first set tiebreaker, 7 points to 5.
Let's go Lopez.
Either the Murray crowd has left for another court or they've changed allegiances midstream.
I think they just want to see a good 5-setter.
1-0 Lopez.
Because if it gets to 2 sets to love, then it'd be very tough for Lopez to come back. But to set a piece, he's got to think he's in there with just an even money chance still.
See our chair umpire, Jake Garner.
Murray once again comes up with a good first serve. Great reflexes, great hands from Lopez. He was caught by surprise with the serve from Murray. Then he goes back to the backhand. Murray creeps in,
2-1
dives to
Lopez.
save this volley. With unbelievable reflexes. A short, just he bunts this one back into the open court.
The first point that Feliciano Lopez has won on, on Murray's serve and either tiebreaker. Mini break.
Full of confidence at the moment, Lopez. That was a tough shot to hit because he had to move backwards on the, and then come up with the cross-court backhand winner. So maybe that altercation with Jake Garner has spurred him on.
(4-1) Lopez on the service.
4-1 Lopez.
135 miles per hour on the first serve. efficient Murray point. Players will change ends.
4-2 Lopez.
Again, Murray just using that serve to the backhand, moving away. Lopez not getting anything on it.
High quality of tennis, as the statistics show. 2 minutes shy of the 2-hour mark. Crashing into our courtside microphones. Big second service.
That's a gutsy play from Murray. Tough overhead. And this one, the net cord. He runs around and plays a little slice backhand. That was the last thing that Lopez expected.
Lopez has the mini break in the second set tiebreaker. Called out. Lopez threw up his finger to challenge.
Right baseline, the ball was called out.
It's Murray who challenges. Lopez initially, I think, thought that they were saying the ball was in. It's Murray who challenges. The chase review shows it's out. Ball stands.
5-3 Lopez. Murray has one challenge.
Well, he went for it. Pressure of the moment allows Murray back into it now. 4-5 on serve. He will serve 2 points.
Deficit, 5-all.
He knew as soon as he hit it. He knew as soon as he hit it, you could see the racket head come straight down and it floats the ball long. 5-all. Somebody will have a set point after this point. So Murray with Lopez.
Murray.
Murray sends in the ball on the left side. The ball was called in.
Challenge from Murray.
So the ball's been called in.
Thought it was called out.
Yeah, I know. It's wide.
It's wide. Coach Garner says it's wide.
Clearly wide.
6-5.
In the world of the chase review, that is well out. So set point for Andy Murray to take a 2-sets-to-love lead over Feliciano Lopez. Serving 5-6 in the second set breaker.
miss it off the forehand, so Murray wins yet another tiebreaker. His tiebreak record this year is exceptional. 2 hours and 3 minutes. Murray leads 2 sets to love.
Can Lopez now find an answer? And Feliciano Lopez, the 30-year-old Spaniard, seeded number 30 here at the 2012 US Open, erase this deficit.
We're ready to go in set 3.
Murray to serve. Long.
15.
Lopez comes to the realisation that he's been so close in these sets to win a set, not alone the match, and he hasn't been able to do it.
15.
Lopez, such a fighter during his entire career, certainly in this match, but right now this is almost a character test, isn't it, for Feliciano Lopez?
Just shows you that Lopez, though, stays very fit. This is his 43rd straight Grand Slam, second longest in an active streak. He's behind Roger Federer. And his 44th Grand Slam event overall.
Not that he plays anything like him, but he's almost, with that consistency, the Fabrice Santoro of the moment. Just hit there.
30.
Just keep showing up and showing up. Credit to someone like Feliciano Lopez. Again, 30 years old. He's played every US Open since 2002. Best results here, 4th round 2007, 2010. But a player like Lopez just keeps coming back, getting their wins, keeping that high ranking.
Well, if he stays fit, he's only 30. He can play for another 4 or 5 years, and obviously
Very sensitive ball on the left serve. The ball was
he's
caught out.
made, as we mentioned, $7 million so far. That's on court. He does a lot of activities off court as far as sponsorship and that's concerned. That one's good.
That was the challenge from Murray on the chase review. So call overturned. That's an ace. 40-30. Murray holds to open set 3. Needs 2 set to love. 2 difficult set
First
wins
game,
via the
13.
tiebreaker. Both at 7-5.
That's the stats. Have a look at those stats. They're terrific. First serve percentage is not great. Number of aces, but the winners on both sides, again, more winners than unforced errors. That tells you it's a well-played match. Both fellas have done quite well at the net. Murray not so good as Lopez, which is a bit of a surprise. But a very even match so far, and Lopez not much to show for it, except 2 tiebreakers on the scoreboard.
Lopez broken. The only time he's been broken in this match, that was to start set number 2. Very loose point there. First service game of set number 3.
Yeah, this will test his character, knowing full well that he's been so close. And for him to win now, he's got to go through to win. And that hasn't happened too many times in his career. It has happened 3 times in all when Lopez has been down 2 sets to love. He's got to be pretty weary though, because his last match that he played here was a 5-setter against Andujar, the second round. That took his 5-set winning streak to 5. He's 16-8 in 5-set matches if he can get there.
And against Andujar, Lopez was up 2 sets to love, wound up winning 7-5 in the 5th against his fellow Spaniard. Up 30 and second serve now for Feliciano Lopez. Real trouble now for the Spaniard. Up 40.
Yeah, I think this might be a pretty quick set, this one.
We're trying to break for the second time in this match.
Not going to go away. That's his 10th ace.
15.
Just a couple behind Murray, who served 12. Both players are going up with a big delivery when needed. 126 miles an hour, that one.
30.
2 big first serves. Lopez from love 40 to 30-40. Still a break
another
point.
one.
Still a break point for Murray. Double fault. There's the break for Andy Murray. 2 sets to love, and now 2 love here in set number 3.
And the body language of Feliciano Lopez has changed somewhat. He's a little bit despondent now, dropping the shoulders a little, and he's down a break in this 3rd set. Murray has to keep his mind on the job here, though. Keep the concentration level up. Try and get off the court.
Bad miss again.
15 love.
That's starting to go off the rails. That's taking off the wrist tape. Searching for answers here in set 3. He's 13 for Andy Murray. 93 mile per hour ace. This point right back for Murray. An odd calm now in New York here at Louis Armstrong Stadium.
There's a little bit of lull in activities now. Didn't get to a set all. And it's a long way back now for Lopez.
Nicely done.
Pretty casual that one, because the drop shot was not a good choice of shot. This one here, and Murray goes back down and just a flick of the wrist, and he makes it, gets it inside the line.
This crowd was so fired up from the latter stages onward of set number 2 through the tiebreaker. Quieted down a bit.
have to just rally with him there, which I think
30-40.
is a wrong play, because he's just, Lopez picked the right shot to go for something there. So see there, Lopez only 1 for 6 in break points, but he has another one now.
Looked like a loose game for Feliciano Lopez. Suddenly it's a loose game for Andy Murray. There's the break right back. Not going away is the Spaniard Feliciano Lopez.
Murray leads 2 games
His
to
turn
1
to serve.
sets, and 2 sets to
On serve, set number 3.
Thank you. Seats, please, at the back of the courts.
Lopez trying to consolidate the break. Get back on serve.
Seats, please.
Level this third
Ready
set
for
at
play.
2-2. But it will be interesting to see the effort that Murray puts forward to try to break right back.
Almost definitely. He certainly wants to get this over and done with. It's very warm out there, conditions. But as I said before this match started, trains in Florida, works hard in the heat, so he's used to the heat.
Love 15.
Love 15.
Tennis has cooled off a bit here in set number 3. It was such a high level in the latter stages through the tiebreaker of set number 2. At a very high level in set 1.
It was very tense, wasn't it?
15.
Situation like this, there's always a bit of a lull that comes around. Now Murray again challenging a serve. I think he has a look at the mark and looks as though it's good. He's walking.
Chase review. Back of the line. Ace number 11 for
15.
Feliciano
Murray has 2
Lopez.
chances.
That's lacked concentration there, Murray.
30-15.
Let him off the hook the last game. He's put in tight the screws to try and break again here. But that drop shot was halfway up the net. 30-15.
Big first serve. The service winner, 40-15.
It shows you how fit Lopez is. They've been out there for 2 hours and 22 minutes now, and he's still cracking serves. That one 132 miles an hour.
Wrong footing, Andy Murray for the clean winner.
2 games on third set.
Pulls back level at 2-all in set number 3 does Feliciano Lopez. He looked just about finished, didn't he, Fred?
Yep.
USOpen.org is your premier source for video coverage of the US Open, including exclusive match highlights, analysis, press conferences, and behind-the-scenes coverage throughout the tournament. Clean winner. The official tournament website of the US Open is usopen.org. Shot works.
I thought he was moving forward when he played that drop shot, so he just had enough momentum, enough forward motion to take the ball over the net. One before, that one had bounced halfway up the net. He just stood there flat-footed to try and attempt the drop shot.
That his best example of footwork.
30-15. 40-30.
Not much on that serve, just 104 miles an hour. A slider out wide, but again, far enough out wide to not let Lopez be able to control everything, and then he follows it up with an ace.
Murray leads 3 games to 2, third set.
14 aces for Andy Murray. On serve set number 3, Murray leads 2 sets to love. $195 total points. 100 won by that man, Andy Murray.
Yeah, there was a stage when they were all even at 74 points apiece. Murray's raced ahead now. He's 4 points ahead, 100 points to 96.
It's amazing how often in tennis, after a large number of points have been played, that it's dead level. 15 all. One more break of serve, and you would think that would do it for Andy Murray. Lopez has simply refused to go away in this match. Down to serve early in set number 2, down to serve early in set number 3. Lopez in both sets, getting the break back.
Boy, did he generate some pace there. Just a lackadaisical stroll out to that one from Murray. And then Lopez just expecting the ball to come back here. Murray, look how he moved. Just there and whack. And on the line. Good serve and volley there. He didn't get hold of the volley at all.
Bad miss by Lopez. 2 more break points for Andy Murray. One would think this just may do it. 15-40. Ace from Lopez. Ace number 12.
That's the toughest serve again for a lefty on that juice court. It was a one away from the body out to Murray's forehand, and that one was hit perfectly, spot on.
Murray.
That was crazy.
120 miles per hour on the second serve miss.
Murray
Double
leads
fault, number
4
3.
games to 2, third sets.
And I agree with you, that was crazy.
Yeah, he's trying to get back on serve. He served an ace, and then that one barely missed the first serve, and then to try and rocket a second serve at that speed, 120 mile an hour. And it barely missed, but it was not a percentage play to go for at that stage. So a break point now for Murray, should just about do it.
Three breaks of serve for the number 3 seed Andy Murray in this match, 2 in this set. We're now down love 15. Time and time again, Feliciano Lopez has taken advantage of opportunities presented to him by that man, Andy Murray. 15 all, better serve.
15 all.
15-30.
The drop shot, this one just fades down the line. They exchange volleys. Murray just really looks as though he flexes his upper groin area there after the stretch for that one. We'll see. 15-30.
Murray now in real danger of being broken right back by Lopez.
Can't put him away.
There's the break right back. Fist pump from the Spaniard Feliciano Lopez. And then probably back on serve in set number 3.
Well, just when you think this is all over, Murray can't close the door.
Lopez on serve, 3-4.
Too low.
And the ace. Love just like that. We would be headed to a 3rd consecutive tiebreaker in this match.
Murray inside the baseline on that return to serve. The ball sort of came into him, a good body serve.
40 love.
Lopez showing us that he's still in there. He's not going away. He's fit.
Talked about a character test for that man, Feliciano Lopez. He's passing the character test. And the ace.
Both players now, 14 aces, and it's 4-all. Can't be much closer. Now we're back even again. We talked about 100 to 96. Now it's 105 to 105.
It's remarkable.
Points won. Yep.
Love the team.
Runs around this one. It was an easy put away. Murray just floated that one half court. Lopez won 9 of the last 10 points.
Love 30 now.
Well, just a couple of games ago, I mentioned that Murray looked as though he had problems with a groin pull. Well, he's hobbling now. Those last 2 points, that last point there, he never moved. And that ball was not hit close to the line. He just hobbled across to it. Love 30.
Triple break point for Feliciano Lopez. Back from the brink of oblivion in set number 3. Twice down to break in this 3rd set.
Well, what was that scoreline there? Murray won 1 point. Lopez 9 out of the last 10. Well, they add another 3 to that now. 12 of the last 13. And a second serve.
Crowd trying to get back behind Andy Murray. He needs their support right now. Seemingly was in full control of this match. Not now. Still up 2 sets to love. Call default overruled by our chair umpire Jake Garner. Would you believe the third break of serve in set number 2 of Andy Murray by Feliciano Lopez? He holds, and he is alive.
Lopez
He has
leads
won
five
set
games
number
to
3.
four, third set. Murray by 2 sets to love.
It just proves if you hang in there like Lopez has done, anything could happen. See if we can see everything that with Murray here. Last forehand down the line. Struggles to get over to it, and there's the joy of a service break when you're down 2 sets to love and you're still in it.
Murray now ready, turning his back. Crowd continues to file in.
Caught him by surprise there. Lopez was waiting for something that wasn't quite as aggressive as that one. Good slice backhand from Murray. Missed one all day. He's hit about 6 of them, and they've all been spot on.
Ace.
Murray is out to the ball.
15 now for Lopez.
Ball was called in.
Murray's challenging the call. Oh. How close is that?
Second serve.
It's as close as I have ever seen on the Chase Review. Serve and volley point.
30-all.
Crowd want more.
Back-to-back serve and volley points, Fred. Lopez didn't have to hit a volley, but coming in behind that first serve. Now set point for the number 30 seed from Spain, Feliciano Lopez. An improbable set point. Down love 2 in set number 3. Breaks Andy Murray 3 times in this third set, and we're headed to set number 4.
That is the first set
Murray leads by 2 sets to 1.
Feliciano Lopez has won off Andy Murray since 2010, when he took a set off Murray in the semi-finals of Los Angeles. Murray won that 6-love, 1-6, 6-4, but that's the only set that he's taken off him in 6 encounters, and today he's got another one. Can he come back? He's done it 3 times in his career, but Murray now 2 sets to 1 after 2 hours and 45 minutes of pretty darn good tennis.
Here we go with set number 4. Murray leading Lopez 2 sets to 1, but the momentum right now with Feliciano Lopez. Clean winner in the fist pump from Lopez. Clean winner to answer right back for Andy Murray. A little more Murray-like there. 30-15. Great stuff from Lopez, and he has break point.
What an incredible point there. Finds the angle. So obviously, the physical element has to come into this a little bit now. They're just out there 2 hours and 51 minutes of pretty explosive stuff. Big, heavy serving. Both players, they've both got a first serve points won when they've got the first serve in has been extraordinary throughout the match.
Murray saves the break point. To deuce we go. Game point for Andy Murray. Yanked wide by Lopez.
Yeah, he's pretty much annoyed with that effort. That was right on his racket favourite shot. He just whipped it a little bit sharply across court, missed the line.
Nothing coming easy for either man at this stage. First game set number 4. Game point for Murray. Clean winner. Two-fisted, nicely done. Murray holds to win the first game of set number 4.
First game.
He leads Lopez 2-1. So Fred, Feliciano Lopez has been broken in his opening serve of sets 2 and 3.
Yeah, that's the third set summary. Murray 64%, he's increased that. Lopez with more aces. And for the first time, fewer winners and unforced errors for Murray in that set because he let it slip. And Lopez 11 winners to 10 unforced errors. Break points, 3 of 4 every time he's had an opportunity, or 3 of the 4 times that Lopez had an opportunity in that set. He broke Murray. Murray started off with a service break, allowed Lopez back in, and Lopez has fought well.
Lopez obviously aware of the poor start that he got off to in sets 2 and 3. Had to dig himself out of holes both times. It's number 15 for Feliciano Lopez. Goes down. Says he's fine.
A bit of a stumble. He's very lucky. He's got those protective ankle guards on to prevent that from happening, which it did on that occasion. That looked as though it may be a little deep. It has to be very close for a challenge to come into play. It's long. No, look at that. It's out, yes.
The Chase Review has unveiled some very, very close calls. Well struck on the forehand winner. 1-all, set number 4 on serve.
15 love.
Just wide. Lopez trying to open things up with that forehand.
Spare a thought for the players that follow this match. They've been out there waiting, probably there for 2.5 hours, ready to go out there. Women's singles follows this one.
When it was 2-love Murray in set number 3, I'm sure
They were
everyone
looking
thought,
good. Yep.
we'll be on in 15 minutes. Now we're 2 minutes away from the 3-hour mark. Third game, set 4.
30-15.
Shot attempt did not work.
40-15.
Very strange point from Murray there, just keeping the ball in play, just feeding the ball back there, not trying to do anything with it at all. Just pushing it back over the net. I don't know what the strategy there is.
For the first time in this match, I feel like it's Lopez who's actually dictating the tempo.
Well, Lopez seems to be a lot fresher at the moment. Murray is starting to lope around the court. Lopez seems to be a lot fresher. But both boys have got to be feeling it. It's right on 3 hours they've been out there now.
Good approach and the finish with the backhand volley for Andy Murray. He leads 2-1, set number 4. 2-1 over
Murray leads
Feliciano
2
Lopez.
games to 1, 4th set, and 2-1.
Lopez trying to stay on serve, set number 4. Every game really critical at this stage.
15
We're doing a lot more anticipating, isn't he?
Yep. Well, both players now, as we mentioned, 3 hours they've been out there. They've worked particularly hard. First 2 sets very, very intense. The standard of tennis has gone off a little in this set, or midway through the 3rd set. But it's still pretty good. That's good on the line. Both players still in front as far as winners and unforced errors are concerned. And after 3 hours, the way these boys have been playing, that's a good effort.
Chase review shows it just clipped the line.
30 love. Murray has 2 challenges.
Lost challenge from Andy Murray. 30-love Lopez. Remember Lopez into the 3rd round, winning a 5-setter against his fellow Spaniard Pablo Andujar, 7-5 in the 5th. Murray into the 3rd round with consecutive straight set victories.
40 love.
No movement at all from Andy Murray. A hold in love for Feliciano Lopez. Murray didn't even flinch. 2-all.
2 games all, 4th set.
Is that physical discomfort from Andy Murray, or is that just
Well, you never know.
conservation of energy?
It's got to be, I would say it's got to be a little bit of fatigue from both players.
USOpen.org is the exclusive online home for point-by-point live scoring and real-time stats and draws. Visit the official tournament website, USOpen.org. We encourage you watching around the world to join us in our global online conversation about this match. Andy Murray versus Feliciano Lopez. Go on Twitter and use #Armstrong. Big fist clinch there. Love 30.
This is now getting very interesting. Murray with the first 2 sets and Lopez not having won a set against him for a few years. He is already pumped up and ready to go. Love 30 now on the Murray serve. I mentioned earlier the extreme heat rule is in effect. They've just taken another reading at 4 o'clock. It's dropped a little down to 28.4, so the extreme heat policy now is in effect just for the junior qualifying matches. Not so for the women now. They can't have that 10-minute break. Not hot enough. Well, Lopez hesitated there momentarily. He was going to move forward. He took a couple of steps forward and then retreated and sliced the next backhand into the net.
So long. 3 straight points won by Andy Murray. Trying to fully dig himself out of a love 30 hole on his serve. Standing depth.
Yeah, good depth and a hit with a lot of topspin, and Murray normally when he gets 2 hands on that can control it. He looks very lethargic at the moment.
Lopez definitely looks the fresher of the 2. Look how winners have dropped for Andy Murray as this match has progressed.
Showed you there the quality of the tennis. The first 2 sets, the number of winners they hit in comparison to the last 2 sets. They only hit 11 apiece. And there was 19 and 16 in the first couple of sets. So Murray has got to be a little worried at the moment.
That's
Don
it.
Lendl, you know the coaches are worried when they start to lean forward.
That was Murray's 4th double fault of this match. Lopez looking to break now for a 5th time in this match. Doesn't get it there. Quality from Murray. Deuce.
Another good serve from Murray, and it's a half-court ball. This time he steps in, takes care of it. by a thread, Murray, in this service game.
Failed drop shot attempt by Murray. Back to deuce. Whoever wins this match, remember this game. Hours, 10 minutes. And the ace from Andy Murray. No breaks of serve here in set number 4. Murray leads in set 4, 3-2.
By 2 sets to 1. Please close the gates.
The big names, the top seeds, both the men's and women's side. The early couple of rounds, by and large, steamrolling through the opposition, but not so much the case now as we're into round number 3. No steamrolling here.
Please take a seat.
Andy Murray, number 4 in the world, the number 3 seed, in an absolute fight with the number 30 seeded, number 31 ranked Spaniard Feliciano Lopez. On serve, set number 4. They're serving 2-3.
Again, it just doesn't appear as though Murray can push off on that right foot. He hardly made a move towards that one. So taking anything away from Lopez, who's playing just a brilliant match.
Murray, though, hasn't called for the trainer.
No, we often see, though, through Murray's matches throughout his career, he gets a few twinges and he holds his back or his stomach and continues on. So I don't think it's anything that's going to cause too many problems at this stage.
Lopez is challenging the call on the
double
right
fault.
Serve. The ball was called out.
Challenge, though, from Feliciano Lopez. Chase review will decide. In.
40-2.
Race the double fault. Back to 40-15.
Broken string.
Again, Lopez. 3 games off 1 set.
No breaks in set number 4. At least not yet.
You hear that string pop as Murray made contact, so that forces the ball to fly. He goes over to get a new stick, and it's 3-all.
Lopez has won more points, 137 to 128. He has more breaks of serve, 4-3. It's Murray who won the first and second set tiebreaker, both by scores of 7 points to 5. Lead this match 2-1. Dead level set number 4, 3-all on serve. Pulled long by Lopez. Murray just hangs his head on that miss, Fred.
Well, that's just a rally forehand for him. That's not something that he's been trying to do anything with. So, unforced error.
Well struck by Andy Murray.
That's the hardest forehand he's hit in about a set and a half.
40-15.
It sat up there and he decided just to go for it.
87-mile-per-hour serve for Murray. I would venture a guess, although we don't have the speed, the forehand was around 100 miles per hour. Relatively easy hold, all things considered, for Andy Murray. 4-3 on serve, set number 4. Critical time now. Huge service game now for Feliciano Lopez. Murray's broken Lopez 3 times in this match. Lopez has broken 4 times, including 3 in set number 3.
Ready for play.
Seats, please.
So much pressure now on that man as he gets ready to serve the 8th game of set 4.
Love 15.
Opens with a double fault.
Yep.
Thank you.
His 4th of the match.
See both with 15 aces, both men with 4 doubles. Nicely done. With that forehand, 15-all. Your crowd started firmly behind Andy Murray. Now I think they're firmly behind Feliciano Lopez. Quality.
Didn't do enough with the approach shot.
15-30.
Just sort of faded it into the corner. Doesn't really hit this one. Just gets it in the corner. Murray is there. He anticipates that move and then executes. Perfectly balanced, head still.
It's a bad miss from Lopez. And a huge break point now for the 25-year-old Scot, the number 3 seed Andy Murray. Murray now a point away from serving for this match. One break of serve for Murray in set 2, 2 breaks of serve in set 3.
3 of 10 on break points, Murray. Another huge serve from Lopez.
133 miles per hour. Huge indeed, Fred.
It's a big serve. After 3 hours and 25 minutes of play, you can still thump him down that hard. Strong lad. Juice. Boy, that's 2 drop shots he's attempted in this game that have really been costly. Both of them have given Murray break points.
Second break point of this game for Andy Murray. Huge point. Clever on the serve and volley behind Murray.
Serve again. Murray has to take one hand off the racket. Just not getting anything on it. Floats it up in the air. But under the circumstances, a tough volley for Lopez, and he makes it.
Really trying to step in and step forward, hitting that backhand to the net. The ace. 2 break points saved, 4 all set 4. Is turning into an epic match.
Well, they've had some terrific matches here over the years and made some unbelievable comebacks. This is, I think, for the first week, I think this is the best tennis we've seen in a match so far at this year's Open.
Now all the pressure back on the shoulders of Andy Murray as he serves. pressure-filled second serve.
Love the team.
Missed that badly. Aerial shot of this outstanding tennis facility. Louis Armstrong Stadium in New York. Heard the vamos, the let's go, Lopez.
Love to be.
Lopez now 2 very big points away from serving for set number 4. You hear the chants of "Let's go, Lopez." Two straight points now from Andy Murray. From love 30 to 30 all.
30 all.
Both players getting a little frustrated now. Rightfully so. Penny, for his thoughts, hasn't changed his expression all day. Lendl. He went for it.
40-30.
Back and forth we go.
Lopez is challenging the call on the left baseline. What was
I
cut
don't know
out?
whether that was a line judge or a spectator.
We'll see the chase review. In.
Here for the points.
I'm looking, but I wasn't 100% sure whether it was just touching or not.
What he's questioning there is that there's no overrule from the chair. Like if there's an overrule there, well that point goes to Lopez. Judge Garner's saying I'm looking, but I wasn't sure. That's one thing with the
Murray
chase
leads
review.
5 games to 4, fourth set,
That's
2
the chair
sets to 1.
umpires off the hook in many instances.
So Murray holds. Pressure goes back to Feliciano Lopez. We'll serve at 4-5, set number 4. Total points, 146 for Lopez, 140 for Murray.
Yeah, it could get to the point here where Murray wins this and Lopez has won more points.
Delicate.
15 love.
First point of this game goes to Feliciano Lopez. Serving volley. Quickly to 30 love.
30 love.
away from 5-all. Lopez is not playing around in this game, Fred.
In all business, he's served well, continues to serve well. Another one.
Clean winner for Murray.
40-15.
Wendell gives nothing away, does he? Five-all set number 4. Punch fist from the Spaniard, Feliciano Lopez. Phenomenal match.
5 games all, 4th sets.
Long. Murray falling away, off balance like as he hits that backhand into the net. Clean ace. 130 miles per hour. 16 aces apiece.
Everything's fallen in line all throughout this match with both of them. It's a very even contest in every department. There's net points when it serves. Probably one of the best matches I've seen Lopez play, Feliciano Lopez. He would have gone in here, seeded number 30 here. Very much an underdog, having lost the only 6 times they've played, but he's made a fist of it today. It's been terrific. It's not over yet.
Again, not a lot of movement from Andy Murray as he hits that into the net.
40-30.
Quality point from Feliciano Lopez. We've hit deuce.
Well, he asked the question, Lopez. He's hanging in there, he's struggling, he's moving forward, he's volleying well. That one was the slice approach. He asked the question, made the volley.
Double fault from Andy Murray. And it's game point, Feliciano Lopez.
That's his 6th double fault for the match. Look for this to be a pretty short second serve, I would think. Yeah. This is a standing ovation, folks. Look at them. You think they're enjoying this match as much as we are? Boy, 23-stroke rally and Murray gets off the hook. Into the net again and just misses with the little angle after that 23 shots. It's deuce.
Nervy stuff. Game point now for Andy Murray to move the needle to 6-5. Aggressive play from Andy Murray. Holds at a most critical time.
Fourth set by 2-1.
On serve, set 4.
Seats, please.
Tremendous fight and character shown by that man, the number 30 seed from Spain, Feliciano Lopez. Love is Lopez serving to stay in this match. Dropping the first 2 sets, 7-5, both in a tiebreaker versus the number 3 seed from Scotland, Andy Murray. Lopez then down Love 2 in set 3, winning that set 6-4 on serve, set 4. And the ace, number 17.
Goes ahead now in the ace count, 17 aces to Murray's 16.
Make it 18 aces and quickly to 40 Love. And a third tiebreaker in this match now looming very large.
So I mentioned the first 2 tiebreakers, very exciting stuff, both 7 points to 5 in favour of Murray. And at 2 Love in the third, it looked as though it was all over.
Inside out. To the tiebreaker we go once more.
Fourth set, tiebreaker.
So Murray's won the first 2 tiebreakers as they get another point as far as the challenges are concerned. So Murray right now is 11-5 this year. And there's Lopez at 10 and 18.
Ready to serve first in the breaker.
It was good.
Beautiful shot from Murray.
1-0 Murray.
Well-constructed point from Feliciano Lopez. This animated New York crowd very much behind the Spaniard.
The drop shot there, and a great effort from Murray and a fantastic lunge from the Spaniard. He's a lefty, so he gets a little bit further across to that one as Murray has to continue his run around the net post. It's 1-all, 19-stroke rally.
The crowd chanting for Lopez. More than a Lopez win, I think they want to see a fifth set. Lopez trying to make that happen. Wide. Mini break for Andy Murray.
Got a little bit behind him, that one. Both players just straining, trying to keep themselves going here. Get a little bit of extra. Murray wants to finish this off. Lopez wants to go to a fifth set.
Double fault from Andy Murray. Hands the mini break right back to Lopez.
That's 7 of them for him in the match. Lopez has only committed 4. 3 hours and 48 minutes. Backhand.
3-2.
Just wasn't quite in position. The feet never got around. Been slicing backhands, took the risk, missed it wide.
On serve in the fourth set tiebreak.
Going to serve and volley again. He's done that and surprised Murray on a few occasions.
The fist pump from Lopez. 3-all. The two players will change ends.
Murray at full stretch, trying to make that cross court. Forehand, stumbles, but he's okay.
Murray's been fully down on the court once in this match, but he popped right up. Showed no ill effects. There have been times, though, when Murray Fred has not moved all that well.
No.
One has to wonder, is that potential injury, or is that just the conservation of energy throughout this hot afternoon match?
Everybody's trying to get a peek at this one. Word's got around the grounds, and any vantage point that is available.
Those are fans looking in from the absolute top of Arthur Ashe Stadium to Louis Armstrong. Big serve from Lopez.
4-3 Lopez.
Back.
4-all.
had a quick look and fell back for all.
Every point so critical at this stage.
Players taking extra time to get set.
Murray now 2 points away from the round of 16, but we're on serve in this fourth set breaker. Phenomenal gritty performance from that man, Feliciano Lopez, showing no quit. Trying to push this to a fifth set. Second serve look now for Murray. Huge from the Scot, and now he's 1 point away.
That was a huge second serve that he goes for here. Murray gets it back. Not enough on this return. Murray there with the two hands, gets two hands on it, and directs it cross court. A good forearm jolt takes him to match point.
That is it. It did not come easy, but Andy Murray prevails for the 5th time in his career. He is through to the 4th round of the US Open. 7-6, 7-6, 4-6, 7-6. Victory for the number 3 seed Andy Murray.